which you apply each time you summon.
This is genuinely one of those games where you just find a class you really, really like, really, really love, and you break it. And then you find another class you really, really like, really, really love, and you also break that one. If that's how your affection works, I understand. Don't worry, you're not alone. I too like to break the classes I like. It's fun.
Age amplifies all poison damage by the stacks of Entangle on an enemy, which you apply.
Hey there, people. Sid here. Nah, I just wanted to do that once, okay? Today, Seth is breaking Path of Achra, a dark fantasy roguelike with a lot of customization and a lot of keybinds. And yes, I meant breaking. Anytime this man so much as smells another roguelike, he wipes his schedule for private time and isn't heard from for a few months, I feel. So before he retreats back into the mines, leave a like, subscribe, and let's get into it.
Hey, struggler.
Hi,
Seth here. If I sound sick, I am
struggler?
sick. I ate rare water buffalo from
buffalo.
Zhengzhou Wet Market, and I feel ill at ease. Hello, Chud. Apply your
God.
finasteride and strap in, because I have a new
finasteride.
hyperfixation. It's
Yes.
difficult to recommend a roguelike, with the full knowledge that I'm asking you to memorize keybinds for an entire keyboard and
That's a
dedicate the
lot.
next week of your adult life to using advanced inventory management.
Did that just say what I think it just said? Oh my God! I literally told myself, remember, turn off the stinger. I didn't. Okay. I just want to, I want to read that. I got to make sure that said what I think it said. Because why?
Keybinds for an entire keyboard and dedicate.
Anyone wanna, goon with me? Add on Discord. We can. That's not real. So, I'm just gonna say that's not real.
The next week of your adult life to using advanced inventory management to haul a diesel engine across town. In a game
that's
with
important.
less visual fidelity than the graphing calculator I used to cheat on my math exam. Path of Achra is not only the fastest roguelike out there, it's also the only one that can be played by holding a single key. Similarly, you can speedrun
That
adverts
looks like a
by
mind
pressing
fluff.
L on your keyboard.
Buenos días, amigos.
I'm currently
Buenos
in Mexico.
dias.
Don't ask why. I've got just one small problem. All of my favorite shows are
Why?
region locked. And by
Oh,
region locked, I of course mean watching anything other than Dragon Ball Z in my area is punishable by death due to
that's
regional
terrible.
licensing agreements. But if you're seeing this video, that means I didn't get caught because I use ExpressVPN and was able to get access to my sweet content from
He
all over
does.
the globe. ExpressVPN routes all of your internet traffic through a secure encrypted tunnel. So
Such a
nobody, not
smooth
even
hook.
Es resplandeciente.
knows what you're up to
Oh
when
my.
you go online. All it takes is one click, and now my
He's
internet
selling
traffic
it.
is a secret for me and me alone. Even
Smart,
ExpressVPN has no idea what I'm doing
Sugarcoat
thanks
it.
to their trusted server technology, which, if you didn't know, means they are
Sugarcoat
literally incapable of storing your data. Now I'm secure. Hold on, I've got another problem. Every
What?
website is defaulting to this strange alien language I've never seen
Alien
before.
language.
I brought
No,
it to the
not
local
my
university,
horse.
and after an hour of debate between the world's most premier anthropologists, they've identified it as Spanish. It would take a lifetime of study to decide which of these
Spanish.
myriad incomprehensible buttons are hiding the language options. A lifetime
don't
that
know.
I cannot spare. Thankfully, ExpressVPN allows you to easily spoof your location to
Go
one
to
of over
Taiwan,
100
you'll
countries.
understand.
Just pick your
Or Hong
location,
Kong.
click connect, and you're done. Much better. Right now, you
Much
can take
better.
advantage of ExpressVPN's Black Friday Cyber Monday offer to get the absolute best VPN deal you'll find all year. Find
you,
out
Seth.
how you can get 3 months free by scanning the
Helldivers.
QR code on screen, clicking the link in the
Helldivers?
description box below, or by
a good
going to
question.
expressvpn.com/Seth. The
Helldivers!
cartels won't wait for you, but I
they
will.
won't.
Holding tab will attack the
Aw.
closest enemy, pick items off the ground, and take the next exit automatically.
Holding
Do not
10?
mistake this ease of entry for lack of depth, because I've played this for several dozen hours, and believe me, I don't know what I'm doing. It's very simple.
I
You pick
believe
a
you.
race, a class, and a god. This is similar to
That's
real
a lot.
life, where, based on channel demographics, most of you are Albanian. Each time you kill enough enemies, your glory rises, which is this game's version of leveling
Ow.
up. This gives you a choice of attributes: strength, dexterity, willpower, or vigor, and gives a point to spend on powers. Powers are
Good.
abilities in one of 9
Oh
elements.
my lord, look at that. It's not really, well, it's not tree-shaped, but they look like roots. Is that a skill tree? I think it is. It's beautiful. I don't need another hyperfixation, Seth. Don't do this to me. It's only Thursday.
willpower, or vigor, and gives a point to spend on powers.
only
Powers
Thursday
are
now.
abilities in one of 9 elements, each with a unique play style.
I
Of
like
these,
it.
you can mix and match up to 7 powers from a total of 3 different elements. Or you can just hit random and spontaneously die because it gave you Plague Chant. Dropping enough points in certain powers fulfills requirements, allowing you to select a prestige
would you
class,
use
which
that
will
on
power
yourself?
scale your character from good to ridiculous. Completing a dungeon takes you to the Overland, where you're given a choice of up to
That's
3
very
different paths you can
D&D-like.
take on the path of Achra. These give exact information.
I've never heard of this game, okay? This is the first time hearing of the game, seeing anything about the game. I'm intrigued by the pixel art choice, and I'm curious how old it is, unless this is an artistic liberty they took. But this really is like D&D, I think. I've never played D&D, but I was just reading all the words that like aggregate at the bottom. It feels like D&D. I like it. It does. It has that sort of like storytelling. That's the word I was looking for. It does. So is it?
Where you're given a
Is
choice
it?
of up to 3 different
think.
paths you can take on the path of Achra. These
3
give exact information on what
paths.
items you'll find and which enemies you'll encounter. Items are important for survival, and enemies are doubly
as they
important
are.
because if you don't read the fine print of their description, you'll die without
Oh.
knowing that a Storm Knight ignores 90% of your defense and shreds your early tank. Everything in this game works by interacting with a set of triggers. For example, we have a Cyclops Warrior of Marduk. On attack, he deals blunt damage equal to half his current life bar to adjacent enemies. On game
not
turn,
good.
he applies 7 poise to himself, amplified
Game
by his class
turn?
special. I take points into heavyweight, which deal damage to the attacker when I shrug off the attack, meaning my armor score is
Nice.
higher than the enemy's
That's
hit,
kinda
which is the
broken.
damage of an attack that connected because the enemy's accuracy is higher than my dodge. However, I have a shield. My shield
Numbers.
blocks most attacks. Block
Yes.
takes precedence over armor, and I rarely benefit. This is an example of antagonistic triggers. I want to
It
be hit,
is.
so I drop the shield. Our racial passive triggers on
Why do you wanna
attack,
be
not
hit?
on hit, which means it goes off regardless if our attack actually connects. I have no natural healing, which doesn't matter because we take vigor each time glory rises, which you can automate in the bottom right. The higher my health pool, the more damage I do. So I hold tab and become catatonic for the next few minutes. Then I pump 10 points into heavyweight, which lets me take the Gallus
just letting it
prestige
go.
class, which deals blunt damage in a 4-tile radius each turn, and every time I shrug off an attack equivalent to my encumbrance, which is massive,
Nice.
by the way, resulting in me being an incredibly slow fat fuck who relies on enemies killing themselves by attacking my gigantic
He's just a really big guy. He's rolling around the map, doing whatever he's got to do, but tanking it. Absolute tanking it. You know what? It's it's not a bad strategy if you're not wanting to go anywhere quickly at all in any game, anywhere. But I like fast. I do. I like fast. I like doing things quickly in games as fast as I possibly can. So I get impatient. It has become very eye-opening to play Dark Souls 3 and be patient. Any Souls-like and have to be patient. Ugh. It's a test. It's a test. I like fast. That's always what I've liked. Effective results. I like to see the result as soon as possible. If that means casting a terrible spell to kill something immediately. Yes! I'll do it. Who cares if the chant is 5 seconds? It's that gratification.
incredibly slow fat
can't be
fuck
the only
who
one that's like
relies
that.
on enemies killing themselves by attacking my gigantic armor score. This is my 600-pound life, or as some might say, the ideal female form. Our god of choice,
Ideal female
Marduk,
form?
transforms
What?
helmets we pick up
That's
to
a
become
new
even
one.
heavier, so we do even more damage. On the way, I managed to pick up a
Where
Marina
did women
Sash,
come
which
into
makes
this?
us attack adjacent enemies on step, meaning our racial passive now triggers from simply
Does the
walking up to
map
enemies.
randomly
We take the
generate?
heaviest armor with the highest inflexibility, because we also found the Inu Greatsword, which, on attack per point of inflexibility, deals ice damage in a path based on encumbrance, which means every attack I do now sprays out 5 volleys of ice. Inflexibility
Nice.
divides speed and willpower damage bonuses, but we're incredibly obese and retarded, so we don't care. Any
We don't-
items
yeah,
that
we
aren't
don't-
needed can be
that's
burned
not
for extra
necessary.
stats by mousing over them and tapping free. At this point, we
Nice.
stack strength, get fatter, and keep holding tab. Keep holding tab so long you win the game. Congratulations on beating Path of Achra.
Oh,
On the
okay,
first
well, that's
cycle of
not-
humility. Good luck on
What's
the
the
second
first-
cycle of degradation. I used to
What?
think the 6th cycle of annihilation was bad, until I reached the 16th cycle of rupture. But now I'm at the 32nd cycle of outer dark, and time is melting.
Is there an end to this game? Seth is sick. Sorry, apologies. Seth is sick in the 30-second cycle of up. Did he make that up? I don't know. I know nothing about this game. I'm going to take it at face value, but I find that oddly coincidental that he's sick on the 30-second cycle of outbreak.
Now I'm at the 30-second cycle of Outer Dark, and time is melting.
Not outbreak.
Consuming Century Egg was a poor decision. Cycles are this game's way of stress testing a build. A solid understanding of triggers will get you through the first cycle, which is the intended difficulty. But you'll need ridiculous synergy to survive ahead. Enemies are more brutal, but the trade-off is more experience, as you'll reach your prestige class before you even finish the first 2 floors. And believe me, you're not going to survive very far without it. Glory or Death unlocks other classes, races, and gods for you to combine. It doesn't take very long. A couple successful runs are all you need to unlock every option. The only purpose of gating them is to keep new players from getting overwhelmed, and to punish me because I didn't pay the first time, and I have to do it all over again. Tab builds are some of the most prominent, but there's another kind of gameplay. It's called standing still. Quamar, ascetic of Fada. We put everything into Astro hunting. We remove his armor, and this is what happens when I click spacebar. He neon genesis across the room very evangelianly. Explanation: each time I stand still by hitting spacebar, Astro hunting teleports me to the closest enemy and deals damage. And if I have no armor equipped, this also triggers on kill. Normally, after teleporting, you receive stasis, which prevents further teleportation. However, our god removes stasis on standstill, leading to a chain reaction where each time I score a kill, I trigger Astro hunting again and repeat the process. The build itself is garbage. The important thing is that you have another key to press. Summon builds are self-explanatory. You fill the screen with summons that do all the work for you. Viviabra, Druid of Ninhur. Your class weapon deals poison damage to the closest enemy on summon. Prestiging in Briar Mage amplifies all poison damage by the stacks of Entangle on an enemy, which you apply each time you summon.
This is genuinely one of those games where you just find a class you really, really like, really, really love, and you break it. And then you find another class you really, really like, really, really love, and you also break that one. If that's how your affection works, I understand. Don't worry, you're not alone. I too like to break the classes I like. It's fun.
Mage amplifies all poison damage by the stacks of Entangle on an enemy, which you apply each time you summon. As most summons take place on entrance, you nuke the entire floor before the turn even begins. You win the game by entering a room. We've reached perfection because we're pressing no keys at all. Grove Cult fills the screen and heals you each time you summon. Grave Chant summons cadavers each time you make a kill, which propagates the feedback loop. In the event you don't win outright, Arbormancy and Overgrowth applies Entangle each time a summon attacks or is attacked. Venokinesis deals poison each time you entangle, and Dread Legion randomly steroids your forces each time they die, which are instantly replaced because we summon 2 Briarfolk, 2 Geezes, a Vine Spawn, and a Hatchling every turn. Despite dumping everything into willpower, you'll quickly reach your summon limit or simply run out of space. Star Cult applies Meditate each time you summon, which, combined with the Entangle stacks from Briar Mage and your willpower, chunks the final boss from several.
I'm curious about what, like, is the lore different for each class, or is it one of those universal lore things? It doesn't really matter what class you are, the story is the same, it's just different how you accomplish, you know, the game. That'd be pretty interesting if it was different per class, but there's a lot of classes on that screen, so I'm starting to press X to doubt. But feel free to clarify and or correct me in the comments. I'm okay with that. It's a learning experience.
Summon, which, combined with the Entangle stacks from Briar Mage and your willpower, chunks the final boss from several million to 0.
That
the
is
king
chunking.
of many colors. And I don't like any of them. In this game, there's only one active ability. Prayer. Each god has 3 prayers which charge on different triggers. Do you enjoy putting your testicles in a vice grip and squeezing them until they burst like a little grape? Well, I've got just a build for you. Lokra, Priest of the Worm. The Worm is a god that corrodes every enemy on screen when they move or attack, and heals you for the stacks of corrosion under the condition that his first prayer isn't fully charged. What does it do? It pours acid on you. If enemies are still alive, it heavily corrodes your character. If enemies are dead, you nuke yourself for 300 psychic damage. It charges each time you enter a new area area, so you have a choice between delayed or immediate pain. It's well worth it, and a single point in life chant outweighs the chemical burn. Status effects are incredibly dangerous conditions if allowed to stack. However, by taking points in a master power, such as Master Scorch, Freeze, Bleed, Entangle, or Doom, we are no longer affected and benefit from the condition instead. Sinking 20 points into Master Doom lets us prestige into Torturer. Each time we apply a harmful effect to ourselves, Torturer copies it to a random enemy according to our current stats. Master Doom applies Doom to yourself on ally or enemy death.
So Doom is the ultimate masochist. I don't think I will ever fall into the Doom category, but in game, it's effective. I mean, if it doesn't kill you and successfully kills others, then the pain isn't enough at that point, and you need to find more. Man, this sounds a lot like drugs. Don't do drugs. Do gamer subs. Code Sid.
To our current stacks. Master Doom applies Doom to yourself on ally or enemy death. Priest amplifies status effects, giving us 50% more Doom. The Worm's second prayer charges on Stand Still, but we take projection to make our prayers count as Stand Still, which means praying now charges the prayer. We make use of our infinite prayer with Necromancy, which on prayer summons cadavers. We fill the screen with trash summons for the purpose of killing them all. On ally death, they give us Doom stacks. Torturer propagates and copies our Doom stacks. When attacked, a creature takes 5 death damage per stack of Doom, which importantly doesn't have to connect. So my skeleton swipes at the enemy, misses, and nukes them for 6 million damage. Welcome to Torturer. This is one of the most mechanically complex builds with the most actions on screen. So at this point, I recommend turning on fast mode, turning off VSync, and uncapping the frame rate. It's also incredibly fragile. Early game sucks ass, and if you encounter a Firebird, Thunder Priest, or Edlight, you won't have to worry about any of that, because your run is over. With that in mind, here's something a little more reliable. Goblin Sorcerer of Apophis. Apophis gives strength each floor you climb, at the cost of taking 7% of your max health each time you're attacked. This is not a problem, because enemies will never reach you. 1 point in Burning Ooze, 10 points in Oozemancy, which summons a number of blobs equivalent to your skill level each time you pray. Each time you score a kill, your prayers reset, making this an infinite loop. To stop nuking your own summons, take Invigoration, Projection to make prayers count as Standstill, Grove Cult to self-sustain on summon, and Dump for Rest into Star Cult. Anything that doesn't give Meditate or...
I find that goblins in a lot of games, and by a lot of games I mean the majority of games, are very smart. They're handy. There's different kinds of smartness. In this game, he's quite smart. He looks like a wizard. So, yeah. It's kind of scary in a way to think of a goblin and then be like, yeah, that guy's actually kind of cracked, you know, because like traditionally goblins really aren't that scary, and they're just like little guys, you kill them, that's it. But in a game where you're able to play as them or play against them, I've come to the realization they are quite annoying little beasts. they're just a little bit annoying because they just happen to be good with their hands and or mind in this case. And there's a lot of them. So even then, even without the brain, there's just a lot. Fighting a swarm with a can of bug spray, that can of bug spray is going to run out quicker than the swarm, okay?
Grove Cult to self-sustain on summon, and Dump for Rest into Star Cult. Anything that doesn't give Meditate or Trigger on summon, toss into the fire and get infinite speed because of your racial ability. Prestige into Ill Prophet and fill the screen with purple, and then punish people for standing on it. Or just go Archmagus and stack infinite Meditate. Conversely, if you'd like to speedrun the game, take an Aslan of Ixana, pray twice, and die on the second turn. In all seriousness, Virya Aslan of Eris. Aslans hate praying, and Eris hates prayer. They're perfect for each other. Eris rewards you for taking the most dangerous path by upgrading your main hand weapon so hard that it hits for 1,000,000 by the time you clear the first zone. Her prayers do nothing, but as long as they're fully charged, you become nearly invincible. Taking a lethal blow when a prayer is fully charged triggers divine intervention, preventing death and draining your charges. An apostle can exploit this by taking a god with easy charging prayers and dying repeatedly to reset his charges. Pair this with Gortide for an even bigger nuke that scales with missing health. I couldn't figure this one out. Sometimes a synergy is there, but you just can't piece it together into a working build. This was the case for me with transform builds. I tried for the longest time to make Drake form viable. Prestiging into Ogum triggers prayers on initial attack. I can't pray or receive divine intervention, but I do get to be a dragon. Then I wake up and realize Azada is a shitty god, and I could be doing this with literally anyone anyone else. They're still interesting, and if you ever want to disappoint your deity of choice, prestige horror form and watch the combat log as you bleed someone for 1,000,000 damage. You receive as many stacks of horror form as the damage you take, which uniquely goes into the several thousands. Triggering a different transformation replaces and inherits all of the previous stacks. Brood Umpuad of Humbaba. Each time we take damage, we get 1,000 stacks of horror form. Each time we're attacked but don't take damage, we trigger our class ability and convert this into 1,000 stacks of jackal form, which gives us approximately 3,000 speed.
Cool. That's a pretty cool, like, description. I can sort of see that in my head, and that looks pretty cool. I want to see art of that now. 1,000 stacks of jackals making one big jackal. That'd be a pretty big jackal. From this distance, though, it kind of looks like a single-tailed fox from Naruto. I'm sorry. It does. Look at it. Look at him. He looks like single-tailed fox from Naruto. Okay, I can't be the only one that thinks that, right? I can't be the only one, right?
Into 1,000 stacks of jackal form, which gives us approximately 3,000 speed. To put this into perspective, a game turn takes place at a speed of 5. High speed is crucial for fragile characters, and nothing is more fragile than basing your entire build on walking. On step is a lovely gimmick that doesn't work because level generation will kill you at every turn. I never thought I'd be saying this, but I am countered by a narrow corridor. That doesn't mean it's not fun. Tengu Nartaka of Tengri generates insane amounts of charge from fighting barehanded while wearing his shoulder piece. Taking Master Charge gives us speed per stack of charge, which you build up by stepping with Electromancy. Technique lets us shred enemies as we walk past them. Astrostoicism teleports away enemies whenever you're cornered, and prestiging into Elise generates even more charge. Tengri gives insane dodge per point of...
Like, okay, the prestige mechanic is kind of like a 50-50 with me, actually. I love it, but I also hate it. Because I don't like doing it, but I know it's worth it kind of thing. Because, like, you build, like, an emotional attachment, a really weird one. And then you're like, oh, I'm getting to a point where, like, it's starting to plateau. I'm really not that strong anymore. And then you look at the button. And the button is like, well... prestige. And it's like, well, do I want to? It's like, you do. You have to, but I don't want to. And then you have to do it, and then you do it, and you don't regret it. It's a whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's still hard to this day for me to do.
And prestiging into Elise generates even more charge. Tengri gives insane dodge per point of speed, and you'll feel like a complete god. Until something smacks you from a non-attack source and you die in a single hit. All of these builds require powers. But what if you took no powers at all? Well, if you somehow survive to Glory 20 without a single ability, you can prestige as Anroth and double all of your current stats. Volkite Warrior of Dorok. Dorok gives us poise each time we're attacked, amplified by our class passive. Volkite supplements our damage by burning nearby enemies based on the weight of our equipment. As long as we don't move, our poise stacks will tank us to Glory 20. Even after prestiging, we take no powers, because the Anroth perk is even stronger. If we have no powers, each time our glory rises, we heal to full and upgrade our main and offhand weapon with an extra 100 hidden block. This doesn't sound significant on its own, but bear with me. We pump nothing but strength, which after doubling by Anroth goes into the triple digits. Each point of strength increases our block by 10%.
Oh my
this is applied to the base value, which is continually increased by Anroth. This leads us to having a shield with more than 1,000% extra block. In the absence of powers, this entire build hinges on finding a single item. The Arja Spear, which, on attack, deals ice damage in the path to the target equal to our block. Since this number is about 300,000, we annihilate every cycle in the game, or we fail to find it because of poor RNG and this build falls apart. Success in the higher cycles is less about skill and more of a dice roll if I actually get the items I need. In summary, there's a lot of builds out there, from berserkers that benefit from fighting completely nude to hemogoblin summoners that win by self-harm. It's impossible to cover them all, which is what makes it so fun. Everyone finds something different. I cheesed through with a dodge stacking mesmer and theory crafted endlessly until a friend saw the game and found a better build than anything I ever made in under an hour. This game is a fusion between highbrow and higher chromosome.
You find a cool game, you share it with your friends, you're like, yo, this is really cool, you guys should play it too. And then your friend plays it better than you and they're only 5 minutes in, and you look at your playtime and it's like 400 hours and you're like, that's not fair. that's not fair. But then you cheer them on like, oh, how do you do that? And it's so nice to learn from each other that way. It's great. It's healthy. Don't be too competitive like me. Not healthy.
Ever made in under an hour.
Fine,
This
though.
game is a fusion between highbrow and higher chromosome. The best builds are either made by master theory crafters or a Down syndrome savant, and there's no in between.
sounds about
Many games
right.
out there are wide as a lake and deep as a puddle. Path of Achra is a kiddie pool which you drown in, and 100 hours later, I'm still sinking. It's a slimline product with gameplay first, and in terms of graphics, yeah, I guess it has color. For the Zoomers
It does
that
have
don't
color.
have an internal monologue or the ability to visualize an apple inside their mind's
Yeah,
eye,
that's
here's what the
weird.
game looks like to the rest of us. My only critique is that the sprites are
That's not
sometimes
what it
such
looks
low
like.
fidelity that I can't interpret what they are. The golden litter is meant to be 2 hobgoblins carrying gold. I thought it was a caked up demon turd with muscular
What?
legs wearing heels. Naturally, it's not for everyone, but if you're neurodivergent and your nickname at school
It's a
used to
very
be
colorful
active shooter,
imagination.
you might enjoy this. Your only limitation is your creativity and your stubbornness to see it through. Even when it falls apart,
Okay.
restarting is a momentary setback on the path of Achra. In keeping with the lore of this game, my final score is don't know, don't care, and if I
Liked
did,
it.
I wouldn't tell you. 10 out of 10.
Exactly.
It's $10.
10 out of
Go
10.
get it. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members
Thank
of the
you,
Merchants
Seth.
Guild, generously funding and bankrolling
that
these
looks
videos.
really
You're all
pretty.
truly wonderful. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you
Merry
all next year.
Christmas. Thank you for tuning in to another Neko Reacts. What is your weirdest but most proudest build that you've ever made in Path of Achra? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, please leave a like, subscribe to the universe, and I'll see you in the next one. Matanya!